Joan Rivers said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died.
Was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's the man.
Michelle Obama surprised fans on our new podcast by saying her pet peeve about her husband is that he's chronically late. For example, we're still waiting on him to admit he's from Kenya. And as for Barack's pet peeve about Michelle, he's mad that she keeps leaving the toilet seat up. When she cleans it. When she cleans it.
The real issue isn't whether Michelle Obama is untouchable. It's how Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld tore through her carefully crafted image without even flinching. One moment, she's the darling of book clubs across the country. The next, she's scrambling to deflect Rogan's relentless shots and Gutfeld's razor-sharp zingers like she's caught in a verbal dodgeball match straight out of the White House gym. They didn't just challenge her legacy, they dismantled it, wrapped it in irony, and served it cold. So what bombshell did they drop that made Michelle disappear from the spotlight? This fiasco might just be messier than the uproar over her school lunch reforms.
Joe Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady.
Yeah, I know.
You're rich as Like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, you know, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed.
Yes.
Like, you are worth so much money.
Take more than they need. The Obamas have 4 mansions.
I mean, it's a bunch of rich people talking about rich people.
Michelle Obama once tried to sell a whole generation on the idea that soggy spinach and mushy quinoa were a food revolution, a bold new era led by limp kale and unrecognizable lentils. That wasn't a health initiative. It was a full-blown assault on flavor. And yet, she marched out with her salad tongs like she was charging into battle, ready to conquer the cafeteria with nothing but chickpeas and conviction.
So, president dies, everyone in the world shows up, and she doesn't break her vacation? It's not like she doesn't have access to a jet. Something is going on. Let's speculate.
Yes, please.
It's either surgery.
Oh.
That was my least controversial thing.
Depends what kind of surgery.
She will not sit close to the dictator. And by that, I don't mean Hillary, I mean Donald Trump. Or there's trouble in paradise between Barack and Michelle. I've heard things. I'm not going to substantiate that by repeating these rumors on national TV like I just did. But I'm just saying it's very odd that she's not there.
Yeah, we should ask Mike.
Enter Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld, the unexpected duo no one saw coming, yet somehow the only voices bold enough to say what everyone else mumbles behind their green juice and detox shots. They didn't hold back. To them, Michelle Obama's brand isn't inspiration. It's a cocktail of Pinterest quotes, performative wellness, and contradictions striking a yoga pose. Add in a marathon-length TED Talk masquerading as a legacy, and you've got the image they're ready to dismantle.
Or the first woman
We already
president.
have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
a transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty funny how she said it.
Okay, we all know it.
Let's make one thing clear. This isn't some random attack on a former first lady. It's about exposing the polished guilt trip wrapped in virtue signals. Michelle Obama somehow managed to turn drink more water into a righteous decree, like she'd single-handedly discovered the molecular structure of H2O. Meanwhile, parents were just trying to stop their kids from swapping celery sticks for real snacks in the underground cafeteria trade.
Michelle Obama has openly admitted that she and Barack sleep in separate bedrooms. Here's how it works. She sleeps downstairs, and he likes men.
Greg Gutfeld couldn't resist digging into this political feast, nearly gasping for breath between laughs as he highlighted the irony of Michelle's health crusade, all while her own White House gatherings looked like Whole Foods had gone off like a flavorless bomb on fine china. Sure, it was organic, but was it actually edible? There's only so much beet hummus you can glam up before someone starts dialing 911 for culinary crimes.
Just good to see everybody having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III. COVID was just so strange. We lost a lot of people during COVID, and most of them are still alive. Yeah, Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. I think Michelle Obama's got a dick. I think Pizzagate is real. I think there's direct energy weapons in Antarctica.
And then there's Joe Rogan, a man who built his podcast empire by fearlessly taking swings at society's sacred cows. Naturally, Michelle Obama's pristine, pre-packaged persona was the perfect golden calf for him to roast. She's out here flexing like she's gunning for a Marvel contract, then turns around and preaches the gospel of joyless living. In her world, grabbing a slice of pizza feels like committing a crime. Rogan couldn't resist asking, what's the calorie count on self-righteousness? And don't even think about skipping over her Netflix empire. Actually, let's absolutely go there, because nothing screams relatable like inking multi-million-dollar Netflix deals with the grace of a wrecking ball wrapped in $100 bills. Her documentary, it plays like a spiritual pilgrimage through her own ego. Slow motion struts through cheering crowds as if she's parting peasants with her aura. It's less substance, more spectacle. Then Greg Gutfeld, the snarky goblin of late night television, joined in with precision jabs. He had no problem cutting through Michelle's airbrushed public persona. Her appearances, less about activism, more about aesthetic. Every speech drips with glossy motivational syrup, like a Tony Robbins event accidentally held in a Whole Foods parking lot. Uplifting, maybe. Practical, only if your life plan involves monogram stationery and syncing your soul to a Fitbit.
Michelle thinks American men suck.
Let me warn you, your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage. To make these choices clear to the men that we love, our lives are worth more than their anger and disappointment.
What's that pitter-patter sound I'm hearing in the background? It's the footsteps of Barack running to vote for Trump.
And we haven't even touched on the infamous "when they go low, we go high" mantra. Arguably the most passive-aggressive political slogan of all time. Translation, we're better than you. Now slap that on a bumper sticker. Michelle didn't just embrace moral superiority, she practically trademarked it, published it in hardcover, and is probably recording the audiobook in multiple languages as we speak. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan was side-eyeing the whole transformation. He was lifting suspicion as part of a workout. He's been raising questions for ages about how Michelle slid from first lady to self-help sage to pop culture deity without ever facing real scrutiny. When did we jump from talking about lettuce to deep dives into finding your voice? Can we get turn-by-turn directions for that? Or do we just follow the trail of luxury candles and designer throw pillows? Michelle's image has been polished to a shine so glossy it makes Barbie seem raw and unfiltered. From choreographed yoga shots to that dreamy backlighting and those just right spontaneous chuckles, it's like watching a motivational poster come to life. Somewhere between live, laugh, love, and eat more kale, she's there, smiling sweetly but with the unmistakable energy of someone silently judging every item in your grocery cart.
Someone put on Instagram, I believe, that Tim Dillon's video where he was saying that Michelle Obama should run for president. If she won, she could pull her cock out and China would just give up. I was fucking wheezing. I couldn't breathe. Big Mike.
Big Mike.
Gutfeld couldn't resist tearing into Michelle's evolution from first lady to global spokeswoman for recycled cliches. He looked like he needed a chiropractor after all the head shaking over her empowerment advice that reads like it was ripped straight from a corporate LinkedIn post. Believe in yourself. Appreciate it, Michelle. Now how do we pay the bills with that? What's next? Visualize your way to a better credit score. And then there's her wardrobe. Michelle's fashion choices have been hyped. They're on par with historic diplomacy. Breaking news, she wore a belt. And CNN nearly imploded. Whole op-eds gushed over a cardigan as if she was hand-weaving international peace deals in the Lincoln bedroom. Gutfeld, with his trademark smirk, asked the obvious question. When did Banana Republic become a political statement? Now onto her memoir, a book so overflowing with journeys and truths, it might as well be sold rolled up like a yoga mat. Each chapter reads like a motivational seminar dipped in vague personal struggle and sprinkled with Pinterest-worthy captions. It's less a window into her life and more like a lifestyle blog trying to pass as literature. Rogan allegedly had to step outside, touch grass, and put on Roadhouse just to reclaim his sanity.
So, Kat, they know that they're having a hard time with men.
Right.
Doesn't seem like this is the right strategy.
No.
She basically says that they're hurting women by voting for Trump.
But I think they don't understand that where it comes from in the first place is that people are sick of being told how bad they are and talked down to, and you know, the condescension doesn't work. None of what they're doing really works. I mean, use the Walls AOC live stream of them playing Madden together was supposed to be to get like dudes who like football on their side, and they did it during football.
But perhaps Michelle Obama's most baffling accomplishment is her ability to play the role of underdog while living in luxury mansions. She speaks about the struggle from estates with 6-car garages. It's like watching Marie Antoinette deliver a TED Talk on downsizing. Gutfeld nailed it when he said her biggest hardship might be finding out Whole Foods is out of organic quinoa. And let's not forget how Michelle painted herself as the relatable first lady, because nothing screams everyday woman like crystal chandeliers, hand-picked party guests, and bodyguards trained like Navy SEALs. She insists she's just a mom, but that mom travels with a stylist squad, a private chef, and a social media consultant to craft her Instagram captions to perfection. Rogan pointed out that Michelle's public image is like a never-ending episode of The View, minus the courtesy of commercial breaks. Every word she says is coated in soft-spoken virtue and served bland, like political tofu. It's everywhere, flavorless, and somehow still preachy. Then there's the media coverage. Michelle could sneeze, and headlines would declare it a powerful stand against patriarchal pollen. Gutfeld roasted the press for treating her like some magical fusion of Gandhi and Beyonce. The coverage is so glowing, it's suspicious. What is she hiding? A bagel? Rogan couldn't help but laugh at the irony. Michelle lecturing America on health while millions of kids are still emotionally recovering from lunch trays stacked with apple slices that chewed like foam. You can't scar a generation with lentil loaf and then rebrand yourself as a cultural savior. That's not wellness. That's full-on culinary gaslighting.
Rumors continue to escalate for the Obamas. Hopefully they can settle it like men.
Let's be real. Michelle Obama's greatest talent might just be her ability to appear like she's saying everything while actually saying nothing at all. Her speeches are glossy word salads, tossed with just enough croutons of meaning to make the audience believe they're digesting something meaningful. Meanwhile, Rogan couldn't help but suspect the real nourishment was happening off stage, probably served by someone named Skylar in a gluten-free apron. Gutfeld had a field day tearing apart the fantasy that Michelle is some unifying national figure. The idea that someone who stirs up opinions more fiercely than the pineapple on pizza debate could be the beacon of national harmony? That's rich. Her message isn't unity, it's filtered enlightenment. She's like a lighthouse that only shines for those who already nod along in agreement. And don't even get started on her fitness empire. Michelle did more for the glorification of lunges than whoever invented staircases. Somehow workouts morphed into moral obligation. If you didn't drop to the floor for planks while she stared at you through the television, you were instantly pegged as part of the obesity epidemic. Gutfeld quipped that somewhere out there, a donut shed a lonely tear. Rogan couldn't hold back either. Michelle's brand of tireless inspiration is so overwhelming, it's practically a cardio session. She's the human embodiment of being forced into a book club you never joined. Every message is framed as a life lesson, even when all the public really wanted was a quiet moment and a cheeseburger.
Even if they run Michelle. According to a new poll, Michelle Obama isn't as strong a Democratic candidate against former President Donald Trump as many Dems would have you believe. In a hypothetical matchup, my favorite kind, Trump wins with 47% of the vote compared to Michelle Obama's 44%. I guess some of the kids whose school lunches she ruined are finally old enough to vote. Remember that? And what?
Even her podcast, yes, she has a podcast, because of course she does, feels like a cozy therapy circle for people who've never been told no. Each episode is a gentle soak in lukewarm, self-congratulatory wisdom where the main takeaway seems to be Michelle has, once again, achieved a level of enlightenment the rest of us can only dream of. Rogan played a few clips and joked that he could feel himself aging from the sheer weight of the condescension. Gutfeld didn't hold back either, mocking the idea of a Michelle Obama library as if she were some hybrid of Mother Teresa and Oprah, just with better biceps. The shelves, likely stacked only with her own books, neatly placed beside jars of affirmation stones and a display of essential oils. You'll probably need to show proof of a detox smoothie purchase and reveal an emotional vulnerability just to enter. Michelle has perfected the art of omnipresence without substance. She's everywhere, yet nowhere. Her presence is ambient, like background jazz at a farmer's market, calming, ever-present, and somehow gently nudging you toward kale. You don't seek her out, she just appears. Rogan joked that if she ever launched a perfume, it would smell like moral superiority blended with steamed broccoli and a touch of filtered authenticity. Gutfeld upped the satire, suggesting the fragrance would come in a bottle shaped like a recycled globe and be sold exclusively to those enrolled in her 12-week wellness program, Becoming with Burpees. And then there's the cherry on top, the wild, swirling rumors from political backrooms and conspiracy corners that Michelle might be eyeing a run for office. Because after advising the country on what to eat, how to exercise, and how to live your truth, what's the next logical step? Running the entire nation, apparently. Gutfeld couldn't stop laughing. He nearly toppled out of his chair. After all, nothing screams political outsider, quite like spending 16 years in the most powerful rooms on earth.
None of what they're doing really works. I mean, the Walls AOC live stream of them playing Madden together was supposed to be to get like dudes who like football on their side, and they did it during football. Like, who's consulting them on this stuff?
Yeah. It's a
woman, probably, also.
It's a gay man.
So, what's the takeaway? Michelle Obama has officially crowned herself the queen of curated struggle, the empress of empowerment jargon, and the first lady of airbrushed authenticity. But thanks to the sharp tongues of Rogan and Gutfeld, that glossy facade has finally been stripped down. Not to reveal a villain or a mastermind, but a hyper-calculated brand wrapped in the robes of a motivational speaker. The kind who'll chastise you for not worshiping kale with enough emotional sincerity. And if all that starts to lose its shine, don't worry. There'll probably be another book on the way. Something like Still Becoming, The Journey to Journeying, filled with 300 pages of sunrise metaphors, salad reflections, and a bonus section featuring an uplifting playlist and a 0-calorie dressing recipe that tastes exactly like disappointment. Remember her mantra, when they go low, she goes high, but only after charging you $29.99 for the inspirational elevation. Michelle didn't just reinvent herself, she turned it into a franchise. The Oprah of broccoli, the Dalai Lama of dumbbells, the spiritual guru of filtered wellness posts and buzzword-laced resilience. Every public moment is a perfectly staged performance, sculpted as precisely as those arms that make the media swoon. And yet, the contradictions are endless. She promotes simplicity while dining like royalty, preaches humility while basking in designer adoration, and demands unity while building her brand around selective inclusion. Rogan pointed out that Michelle has a way of sounding profound while saying almost nothing, like a TED Talk about clouds. Gutfeld followed up by skewering the echo chamber that clings to her like an obedient little poodle. There's no critique, only admiration. No questions, just applause. It's not dialogue, it's deification. She's become a solo industry of soft-spoken smugness, where every anecdote is conveniently inspiring, every struggle Instagrammable, and every golden hour photo shoot a sermon in subtle superiority. If branding were an Olympic sport, Michelle would be wearing 5 gold medals, starring in a documentary about the journey, and launching a line of vegan protein bars called Authenticity Bites. And somehow, in all of this, the one thing no one seems brave enough to ask is, what exactly are we clapping for?